Hey, Avo. We just finished
Hey
episode
Red,
two.
how's it going? Yeah, great episode. It went by quick, a challenge, fight, some stuff happened, and we'll get right into it though.
Yeah, let's get into it. Well done, Soup again. Always love your content. But yeah, this episode started out with 17 people left, and the challenge was a survival challenge in raids 1 against the boss, Ohm. And it was basically whoever survives the longest, the last 3 people get to be immune. And any notable parts for you?
Yeah, it was really interesting that skill specs got eliminated so quickly. That was so sad. I felt bad for him because I think he had all 4 brews, didn't drink a single one. That's super relatable. Me and Red do challenges, and it's so sad when you die without eating any of your food. So, yeah, it feels bad for skill specs,
It
and
is.
something later on too.
Yeah. Very sad, and definitely for something later on too. But it was sort of funny. Travesta, his in disguise buddy, just dies next, and they just make some funny commentary and. Uh, yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
something else later on happens.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's nice seeing. It was cool seeing Travessa and Skill Specs being like homies and that they're like gonna like team up together because they had like a rivalry. I don't think it was like a real rivalry, but it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you.
totally.
Maybe last season or 2 seasons ago, and this
Yeah,
season they're like straight up homies. So
yeah.
sad that he's out. I mean, sad. So, but yeah,
I know we're like holding back. So the I mean the what happens is skill specs ends up losing and getting kicked out of this challenge, and it is so sad because
yeah,
we love him. He's one of
yeah,
our
he's funny.
favorite contenders, so he will definitely be
Hmm.
missed. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of people got out earlier than we thought, but amazingly settled. He won last week, but he came out on top. Amazing. He's performing. Uh, you know, yeah, very interested to see how he will do in the future. But yeah, also Eevescape won, and this new guy named Roidy. I actually don't know anything about him, but
Me neither.
yeah,
Yeah, and another thing was settled. I'm watching one of his series, and I think he's doing some type of like uh, starting a new account and going to like raids as soon as possible. And so one of those things involved doing ohm, and so he was like working on like his own technique. So maybe
mm,
that's what helped him out get the win in the last
probably
episode.
that makes
So
sense. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that helped a ton. Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and then
but
so the 3 people won, and then they chose this guy who I actually called out because I was like, this guy is a beast. West Ham, so they chose into the banning, and so he's a beast because he's so good at player versus player combat, and he demonstrated that in the banning. However, the person chosen, West Ham, gets to choose who he goes against, and unfortunately, he chose our favorite, or one of our favorites, skill specs, and yeah. What? So what was the banning like?
yeah, so the banning was they just an old school PvP challenge. So old school just meaning like they didn't use any of the newer items that came out, which they're like used to peeking, and they couldn't click on, or they had to only click. They couldn't use these things called F keys, which allow you to tab between like your inventory, so you can drink potion, or like your prayer, so you can put up your prayer really quickly. And that's like bread and butter. Like every PvPer does that. So that limitation was like the main deal. That being said, West Ham actually they both went hard, but West Ham in particular, if you watch the video in the fight, he's like it looks like he's using the F keys, and he's like it's like I don't know like 8 clicks a second or something. It's absolutely wild, and it takes a lot of practice to get to there. And what's West Ham's background? Because I don't know him too well.
Yeah, he's done a
Is
lot of
he
deadman
just
modes, and
Deadman
he
mode?
might
Okay,
stream or make some YouTube videos, but he's just known for his player versus player combat, and he's
okay.
just one of the best in the game, if not the best. But yeah, he's
Wow,
incredible.
big words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And people know him for it. Everyone's afraid of him if they went PvP, and he
Yeah.
demonstrated that today. He was so good. But yeah, he's ready for vengeance now to, um, this is a political game, Gielinor Games, and now the three people settled. Escape and this other guy may have made an enemy today. So, and he wants to. Yeah, I'm sure he'll use it against them in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, oh, I want to get back at Escape because I guess he assumed that Escape sent him in, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And it's interesting because it's like I don't know like what the best game theory is, but V the Victim did a good job where he says like, oh yeah, like if you choose me, I gotta like make sure I'm gonna smack you on like the hand to
Right.
let you know that like, oh, if you mess with me, I'm gonna mess with you.
Right.
But you also want to like be nice and like not make new enemies. And I think someone put it really well earlier, where they're like, "Oh, I don't want to make new enemies. I just want to like really mess up the enemies I already have."
Right. Totally.
I forgot who said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know
But
who said that too. But yeah, keep the same enemies and just remove them from the game. So definitely
yeah,
the choice. And then this other, I think
yeah,
Zoe said, her choice if she gets into banning and wins is to just choose the immunity for the next round, so you're not making any enemies at all. Because she's probably a neutral player, trying to not have any enemies. But
yeah, and that makes sense. And then you won't get banned as quickly
right,
too, and you get like partial immunity.
yeah,
Which is nice.
yeah, which she has done great. So
Yeah. So
yeah, very good stuff. Yeah, that's it for me.
yeah. No, that's let me see. Let me just check if the thing was cool. I haven't really done raids, so yeah. But yeah. Also, one other thing. It was really interesting because now we know a little bit more about this game mode. It
Mm.
seems like you only want to be in alliance with like winners, because if you don't win, there's like no point in being in alliance, because it's like there's no point. You can't like not vote people in. Like only people who win get votes.
Right.
So
Totally. The
I thought
yeah.
that was like an interesting dynamic.
Totally. Yeah, the strongest people actually have the most power in this game mode because they'll be put in the banning and they'll win their banning and they'll now have vengeance against whoever, and they have such
Yeah.
political pull. And yeah.
And then they get favors from other people. I guess the only downside, which I guess Soup did a good job of like making the mechanic that they have to name their votes, because otherwise maybe they would be too overpowered.
Yeah.
So then it's like you have to like make some enemies if you are going to send someone in.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Balancing out like a little bit, but
Totally.
yeah, very interesting. And yeah, that's all I got. But looking forward to the next episode. This is a clean one, and yeah. So
Yeah.
have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah. And we will see you guys on the next one.